Only thing unplugged is Forgotten Seasons.
All right, welcome back, Matt. I think like 2.5 years ago, we did this, the first episode of Forgotten Seasons, and a little bit has changed since then. We talked about the Magic then, but man, it's been quite the 2.5 years since then. I think me personally, a lot has changed since then. So it's great to be back here. I know a lot of stuff is going around, but I'm excited just to get right back into this because, man, this is kind of where it all started.
Yeah, man, it definitely started 2 years ago. I did your show, man. I was a huge fan of your show. Obviously, All the Smoke was over at Showtime at the time, and I hit Brian Daly. I'm like, we got somebody. It's like, what do you mean? It's like this young kid's got his shit together. He's doing it all by himself, him and his brother. Like, I like his energy. And man, 2 years later, man, you're one of the top dogs in All the Smoke production. So it definitely has come full circle. Yeah, love it. Love what you do. Love what you bring to the table. Obviously adding Jelani to your podcast and his computer mind. I'm happy for everybody. You know what I mean? Like this shit is dope. The building of our production company has been an amazing journey. We've been able to bring some talented people in. We're building our foundation. We've been aligned. So this is 2.5 years ago, bro. A lot has changed, like you said.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the computer mind to the equation was, it's to be determined what the outcome of that is.
Yeah, talk your shit on your show, dude. Hey, Jelani said you got to earn your shit. This ain't just giving, motherfucker.
I'm just
Yeah,
a co-host
Dylan.
here. You gonna watch how this show goes, Dylan.
I'm playing. So, first time I had you on, we talked about the 2010 Magic. We're going to go a year before that. I'm going to give you a fact that you might not know. The four best teams to miss the playoffs in the modern NBA, you were on two of them in back-to-back years. The 2008 Warriors and the 2009 Suns, two of the four best teams to miss the playoffs in the modern era. Both loaded rosters. And this Suns team, I think it comes at an interesting point. I'm going to get into the team a little bit later. But I think for you, man, like you look at your career, 2009, this is the sixth consecutive year that you've signed a one-year contract. And obviously, even a one-year contract in the NBA, it's good money. There's going to be people who say, oh, you got nothing to complain about. But what is it like kind of being in the NBA circle around all your teammates when you're a dude that you don't know if the next year you're going to even have a job? Like when you think back to that time of your life where it's like year after year, no stability, like what do you think of and what type of mental state were you in where it's 1 year after the other 1-year contracts?
It was just a journey, a grind. You know what I mean? When people say embrace the journey, like I wouldn't change nothing, man, because I was hungry. I was a dog. Whether it was basketball or fighting, like I was going to make it. You know what I mean? So each year I would get to show a little bit. So I was drafted, went to the G League, get a call up from the Clippers, played well there. We're a terrible team. This is D Miles, not D Miles, Q Rich, Keon Dooling, Chris Kaman was a rookie, Bobby Simmons. Weren't a very good team, but had a situation to go back. I think it was like 2 years at the minimum. But then I was going home in the off season, every off season to work out, and this is when the Kings were popping. You know what I mean? So this is C Webb, Bibb, Jay Willard just left. They're battling the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm home all summer. I'm like, damn, I'm from Sac. It would be dope to play here. So I just worked out up in Sac all summer. And Rick Adelman came to me, and we had a discussion, and obviously had the Clipper opportunity, but it was just kind of a dream come true to play at home. C Webb was the big homie already. The team is good, so I signed there. C Webb's coming off a knee injury. He gets traded to Philly, and on starts my journey. You know what I mean? So I went from I think it was a guaranteed situation with the Clippers. I would have been there 2 more years. Went to Sacramento, got traded at the trade deadline to Philly. Philly was a nightmare for me personally. Didn't get a chance to play for like 2 years. So I'm at the kind of 2005, 6, like, damn, am I going to be in the league? I continue to bounce some teams. I had an opportunity to play the Clippers. I played with the Kings a little bit, but I didn't get no burn in Philly. So I'm like, shit. So I'm in the summertime. this is when my brother's just getting out of college. So I'm doing football workouts and basketball workouts in the summertime, not really knowing what's going to pop. I mean, I'm just like, shit. I had really had no teams calling after that, 2 years in Philly without getting a chance to play. I told my agent just like, I'm a better football player than basketball. I was just doing this shit because I loved it, but fuck it, let's go do football. So we had some NFL teams that summer. I was gonna, end up, doing some close tryouts for. But then Baron Davis calls me. I'm in SAC, summertime. He hits me up. He's in the Bay. He's like, hey, bro, we're going to play.
2006.
We're going to hoop.
This is right before
2006. Yeah. So we're going to hoop in the Warriors facility. Come down and fuck with us. So it's like, 90 minutes, a little bit more from SAC. So I push down there, go out there, play really well, like really well. And I didn't know that Don Nelson was watching practice. He comes down, puts his arm around me. Like, son, we got a full team. We have a full training camp. We don't even have a spot, but if I'm going to invite you to training camp, and if you play like you did today, I can't promise you nothing, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. And I'm like, damn, really?
Matt, why do you feel like you were able to thrive in those situations, being on 1-on-1s and sitting out 2 years, and then just being able to get a call? Because you was always down to go to SAC or go to the Clippers, or hey, we're going up here and for the runs, and you leave with a job. You know what I mean? How do you? A lot of people be in those runs and be free agents, but not everybody leaves with a job. Well, why do you think like you were so cut for that cutthroat of an opportunity, and why did you thrive in those?
I think at that point, Jelani, I had thrown away what I thought I wanted to do in the league and found out what I needed to do in the league. Like, bro, I gotta play defense. I gotta be a fucking dog. I love football, so physicality was nothing to me. I loved it. I loved the competitiveness. I loved just being like mean out there, and not in no asshole type way. But if it had to be an asshole type way, I didn't mind taking it there. Like, I was just I would always say like I was a football player playing basketball. So like when I was physical, like I loved it. I loved the physicality of the game. So anyway, long story short, Nelly gives me an opportunity to come to training camp. I beat out everyone they invited to training camp, start playing so well. And it was funny because Mitch Richmond just talked about this the other day on the show when he was at All-Star. I was playing so well, and I was playing like the 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5. So you have a free agent dude that's on a minimum deal, and I start playing so well that it makes Dunleavy, who they gave some bread to, Troy Murphy, who they gave some bread to, like, hey, let's go see if we can use these guys because they're still solid guys. They weren't necessarily fitting into the new way this team was going with at Barron's lead. So they get that happens. We trade to get Stack. You know what I mean? And then the rest is history. The following year, my mom dies at the beginning of the season. So I'm thinking I'm going to get a mid-level deal off that Golden That We Believe run because they're talking about me all over TNT. Like, oh, yeah, this guy's one of the best.
You hit huge shots in like game 6. Big shots, crunch time.
Huge.
Did my thing, you know what I mean? And so story goes with that. Everyone's telling me, and I shouldn't have fucking listened. Everyone's telling me, like, yo, you need to get a bigger agent because I had like a homegrown guy with my guy, Gus Armstead, whose son is Eric Armstead, who plays for the 49ers.
The homie.
His dad was my guy, and he was my workout guy in SAC, and he connected me to a guy on the East Coast. And I was with him. Smaller guy, did his job, grinded for me. But I'm starting hearing all this other shit. Are you going to get, $35 million? I think it was a 5-year for 35 at that time, July, if I'm not mistaken. It would be
Dallas.
7 a year. Those were the deals they're supposed to give. So
Yep.
I'm hearing that I had Dan Fagan, rest in peace, that Dan had a nice mid-level deal for me coming off the Dallas situation, or he had it or he was working on it. And I was like, dope. He's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be able to get you the mid-level at Dallas. So I'm like, hell yeah, I go on vacation. I come back and I see that they assigned Stackhouse and Devin George, I think, with that money. And I hit Dan. He's just like, they were at a certain number and I wanted to get to a certain number. I'm just like, so you tricked off more money.
So he did the same thing.
So I went and tried to find him. I was about to pull up on Dan.
I wanted to.
Lucky I
the disappearing.
Because you got to think, Jelani, like,
deal after the way our career goes. Hey, man, that's real. That's
life or death, bro. Life or death. And so think about it. So now I'm thinking I'm going to be getting $7 million a year, 5 years, seven a year. Once that falls through, this is how the end of my career in Golden State went. So they offer me a 3-year. Golden State off the rip offered me 3 years, $12 million. So $4 million a year. And Nelly's like, from Nelly's point of view, he was trying to lowball me, but also thinking like I gave this motherfucker a chance, so this is what it is. But I'm hearing all this other shit. I'm trying to go get my money.
Yep.
So when the shit falls through, I have to go back to Golden State. And at that time, he only let me sign, like the 12 was off the table. He only let me sign a 1 year deal. So I do a 1 year deal, $4 million for that second year after the We Believe team. So the very beginning of the season, November 1st, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. She dies the 27th. So 26 days. Needless to say, I'm fucked up. So right when I'm starting to feel better, I remember this like it was yesterday. Nelly pulls me outside of practice. I've never told this story. He's like, I'm glad you didn't sign a long-term deal here. Your time here is up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like what you mean? Like, my mom just died. Well, your time is up, and you may not play the rest of the season. So I'm like, damn, like the dude that opened the door and allowed me to, he allowed me to do my thing. I made a name for myself that We Believe season. I'm back there. My mom dies. I'm going to, and by the way, Golden State was great. Like everyone came to the funeral. They were letting me miss practice. Like they were unbelievable. And that's when me and Jack became real tight. Jack was instrumental during those days for me. But Nelly pulled me outside, bro, and told me like, I'm glad you didn't sign a long-term deal. Your time here is up. So I'm thinking at the time, I'm thinking like, what the fuck? But then I'm also older. Once I got older, I was just like, this man gave me a chance. And then he offered me $12 million out, the next year, and I didn't take it because I thought my fucking agent had $35 million. So then I have to go back with my tail between my legs and take $4 million. And needless to say, like Nelly stuck to his word. Bro, I didn't play that barely, sparingly. I remember one game I was 4 for 4 from the 3-point line and played like 13 minutes. Like Nelly was not fucking with me that next season. I've heard stories about Nelly, how one day he's great and the next day he'll flip on you. He did the same shit to Al Harrington. Bro, he gets cold.
But that whole We Believe situation dismantled. Like, I mean, they had that next season where you guys again were really good. You didn't miss the playoffs, but then 2 years later, I mean, I think Stack gets traded. Monte Ellis is like the last one standing. So the incredible high of that 2007 run was almost immediately followed.
Didn't have a chance.
Didn't even have a chance.
And then also too, like, remember Mitch told us, shout out the Mitch interview, check out Mitch Richmond whenever it comes out in all the smoke, how close we were to getting Kevin Garnett that year. And KG even said like, hey, what do you call it? The town or Oakland was on my, you know what I mean? So that team, what coulda, shoulda, woulda, is insane. But all that shit lands me in Phoenix, man. And this is Phoenix. I thought Orlando, Boston were opportunities. Clippers, Lakers were kind of, but Phoenix just, went out and grabbed me. And this is in the midst of, I got Isaiah and Carter on the way, bro. You know what I mean? So we're out in Phoenix. We're in a new city. Isaiah and Carter are on the way, and I become a dad at the, they're born November 6th, at the very beginning of. So I lost my mom the season before, at the very beginning of the season, and come around, the twins come the year after. So, I'm in a good mental space, after the loss of my mom with my boys being born.
Them new babies will do that to you. I can't imagine having the twins.
That's kind of beautiful.
Yeah,
like you lose your mom.
And I had to learn the hard way too, because you guys know how hands I am with my kids. I was trying to be up, and me and my ex had a system where they'd wake up every 2.5 hours, and she would get one. They'd be like 5-6 minutes apart. So she'd start doing one. She's breastfeeding one. By the time the first one's done, the second one's just waking up. So I put the other one on the other titty. I would burp Isaiah. I'd burp Isaiah, change his diaper, and get him back down. And I was trying to do that shit with her, but I learned very quickly, like on game nights, bro, I can't do that. I'm sorry, babe, but I got to sleep in the spare room. I got to lock
I'm on a 1 year deal. If I was on the 3 year deal, maybe I could do it.
Come on, man. Yeah. If I had some comfort, yeah.
So
I got to get my rest.
Setting the scene in Phoenix, I think you get there at a pretty interesting time. So obviously Nash gets there in 2005, and they come close a few times. They lose to the Spurs 3 years in a 4-year window. Right before you get there, you kind of start to see like the dismantling of the initial team. D'Antoni leaves to New York right after that season. They make a big trade before you get there, sending Marion out, and Shaq comes in. So this is kind of a new iteration of that Suns team. Grant Hill is there. Like I said, Steve Nash, Shaq. They trade for Jay Rich midseason. Amar'e is on the last year of his deal. They're kind of shopping him there. So D'Antoni leaves and Terry Porter comes in. And I want you to get into it, but like Terry Porter goes publicly, before the season and basically says like, no team has ever won a championship playing run and gun. We're going to establish defense. I heard that he in practice would only keep score on like defensive stops. So he basically said like all that run and gun, 7 seconds or less, like that stuff was cute, but we're going to do defense first. Shaq's there, so you can't really run and gun like they did, but you were there for kind of this new wave and new era of the Suns, D'Antoni being out, him being the godfather of that run and gun offense. Like, what were those first days with Terry Porter like trying to implement that new system?
Nasty.
You had a training camp? Did you have a training camp with Terry Porter?
We had a training camp with Terry Porter. This motherfucker was making us do Indian runs where we're all jogging around the court, and the last person comes around. He had us doing the drill with the ball above our head. So think about it. We got Shaq
5-minute off a motherfucking
rebounding. 4 or 5 championships. I don't know how you made it at that time. Nash is a fucking MVP. Amar'e is a monster at this time. And he's in this having us do this high school, college type shit. And he was so adamant on kind of giving us his new style of basketball, or excuse me, that organization new style of basketball. That shit just didn't work. And I love Shaq. Shaq's great, but obviously Shaq's game doesn't fit in that system. You know what I mean? So we're caught between trying to run and gun, but also got to feed the big fella because it's the big fella. You know what I mean? So it's just like the contrast of styles don't work. We show flashes of greatness, and then shit kind of sets in. The training camp that summer, though, we were scrimmaging, and that's when Amar'e almost got his eyeball poked out.
Oh, shit.
So, everyone knows Amar'e for his glasses. At the very beginning, he gets his eye poked, and that shit almost came out, man. Fucked him up. I don't know how long he was out. Go ahead.
He'd be wanting to do the 5-minute war rebounding. When I was with Milwaukee with him in training camp, he abandoned 2-a-days for 1 4-hour practice. And when I tell you it was a Marine war hero movie in there, I'm talking about 5-minute war rebounding, those runs, all of that. Besides, like you got to really go through it in the Terry Porter training camp for sure.
Well, I don't even want to say that him being burnt out, TP being burnt out. Well, I think it was just we were scrimmaging and he got poked. But yeah, no, everything you said. I mean, shit was, you just couldn't get that type of vibe off with that team. That team wasn't really going. Think I'm still trying to find a home, so I'm doing whatever the fuck I got to do. I'm just out there. I'm listening to everything and whatever. I'm cool. I'm gonna chop it up with the players after, but I'm locked in. So, long story short, Amar'e gets his eye poked. I think he misses. I mean, Dylan, I'm sure you're gonna check. He missed a lot of games that season. Terry Porter gets fired, I think, in fucking January or February, like the fastest firing. Yeah, it might have been like one of the quickest firings at that time in NBA history. And I was just like, whoa. This shit is real over here. And then Alvin Gentry comes up, and Alvin Gentry's cool, laid back, different style, obviously understands what they were trying to do. So we try to put it together. But I really think missing Amar'e all those games really hurt us. But we had some depth. We had a talented team, but it wasn't. We got off to such a negative way of Terry, the way Terry wanted us to work, and then at All-Star break we completely changed. But there's only fucking 35 games left after All-Star, 30 games after All-Star, so we never really got it going.
I read that, like you said, you started the season pretty bad, and then you started playing well, but you're also playing the 4 for a lot of that when Amar'e's out, and this is a time in the West when the 4 position it's Dirk, Tim Duncan, Powell, Zach Randolph. So you're having to play the 4. I want to go back a little bit, and like I said at the top, you're one of the few people that were on some of the best teams that missed the playoffs, but you're also one of the few people that played on a team owned by Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver. So I got a question for you.
He said I got a way of finding it.
So we're going to play a little game, but first I want to ask, if you had to go out and just have a night out with Robert Sarver or Donald Sterling, there are only 2 doors you had to do, who would you choose?
Oh.
Donald Sterling maybe a little bit creepy. You got to go. You got to choose one.
I probably just wouldn't go, Dylan. If I had to choose one, I don't know. Sarver, I never had no issues with either of them while I was with them. And I never had no issue with Sterling the whole time, to be honest with you. When that shit came up, I'm like, my motherfucking high school was almost burned down by the KKK. I'm not worried about what this old-ass man is saying. I had a problem Sarver after I left
Hmm.
because he said some slick shit to one of my homies on the team, and they literally told me right after. I'm not going to give his name away, but they told me so. I didn't have a problem with Sarver there. To answer the question, I would go with Sterling just because I really don't fuck with Sarver.
Have you guys read?
Really
Have you
don't.
shout out to Baxter Holmes who follows the page and he broke that Sun story. Have you like read or seen some of the things that the people within the Suns organization, like hundreds of people, said that Sarver did?
I can see I never personally saw those type of actions, but he's out there. He's loud. He always has to be the center of attention at events. He's like frat boy entitled like energy and like nothing. Whatever he does just goes. You know what I mean? So when I heard what
Facts.
they said he did, I'm just like I can only
Are you
imagine.
guys cool with playing a little game and me reading off some of the things that confirmed he did? All
Sure,
right.
We can say,
playing a
what
little
is it,
game.
true or
No,
false?
so
Is it
so
true or
so we're gonna
false?
play a game. No, I mean all these things are true. Like these happened. Like this is
Right.
what people say. Do you guys know the blind rank game? Have you seen those
No.
videos? So
That sounds like
so
some.
there's seven things that he did, and without knowing what the next one was, we're gonna play a game. Matt, you're the owner of the Suns, and this is if somebody within your organization did this. From 1 to 7, 1 being the most fireable offense, 7 being let
Okay.
it slide. You got to rank them one to
Okay.
seven. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to start
Okay.
off. Robert Sarver, there was a team meeting and he passed around a picture of his wife in a bikini to all the employees and talking about times where his wife performed oral sex on him. So would that be 1 to 7? Where are you putting that?
Just weird. I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna put that in the middle. Let me give that a 4.
Okay. Um,
That's fair.
during Lamarcus Aldridge's
Seem weirder.
free agency meeting in 2015 with the Suns, the team knew that Aldridge had young children in Texas and that playing near his children was a priority for him. Sarver remarked to 2 basketball operations staffers that the Suns needed to have local strippers impregnated by NBA players so those players would have children in the Phoenix area and feel obliged to be closer to them.
I mean,
5. Because I have a feeling some shit's coming. So I don't. I want to leave. I want to leave the top open. But
Good
yeah,
choice.
that's just weird. Like both those are weird. Go ahead.
Uh, Taylor Griffin, Blake Griffin's brother, was in the weight room. He didn't have that much hair on his legs. And Sarver asked if he shaved his legs. Griffin said yes. And then Sarver asked him if he shaved his balls too.
I feel like that's
6.
fair. That's the least.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, you can get
Yeah.
away with that,
Yeah.
considering all this
Okay.
other weirdo ish.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he can let that slide.
That's
Get that one
6.
to
Six.
7. Yeah, 6.
Six.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, this is bad. This one's bad. 2013, he hired Lindsay. They fired Alvin Gentry. This is in 2013, and everyone thought they were going to hire Dan Marley, who was like with the organization for a while, really good player. They hired Lindsey Hunter over him, also a former player but inexperienced. And Sarver's rationale for hiring Hunter over Marley was that these N words need an N word, and he didn't abbreviate it.
Yeah. There you go. Show your true colors. Let me get that number. Let me give you that. Let me give that. I want to give it a 2, but that's fucking crazy. So I'm gonna give it a 1.
I think that might be 1. The Suns needed to really like find their future face of the franchise. The GM Ryan McDonough at the time wasn't finding much success. Diana,
He was a mess. He was young too, right?
yeah,
He was a mess.
that was remember
Yeah.
Tyson Chandler said that like he had no idea. They drafted Devin Booker, and remember they had like no idea that he was good. And
They didn't know who he
yeah,
was or what he
yeah.
was.
So
He was a mess.
the Mercury, which is the WNBA team, had Diana Taurasi, who was like one of the best players ever. Sarver really wanted McDonough to like find the GOAT. Like he wanted the Suns to get their GOAT, like Taurasi. So he put a literal GOAT in McDonough's office as a metaphor, and the GOAT shit all over the office.
I like that. I'll give that a
Okay.
7. I'm not tripping off that. Like I want you to see my
Goat's
vision,
gonna go.
motherfucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
goat's gonna go.
He pants the 25-year-old account executive during the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge in front of more than 60 employees.
Guy or girl?
Guy.
Guy. That's crazy. That's 3.
Good
So
question.
the last one has, yeah. If you pants a woman, like that's
Yeah, that's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, you out of there.
So that's 3. So this last one has to be number 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
It's just weird again. I mean, I think 4 former employees said that in several all staff meetings, Sarver claimed that he needed to wear Magnum or extra large condoms in just a team meeting.
Clown.
Oh man. All right. Well, that was the game. So I think you chose number 1, right? But that's all to say that this if you ask kind of Suns fans about that era, if you remember, like this dude was a cheapskate. Like he traded like first round picks for money year after year after year. And I think at the end of this Suns run, where you enter the picture, like the team was old as hell. Nash is like 34, Grant Hill's 37, Shaq's 37. So that was the Robert Sarver blind rank game.
Hey, there was a time, and I want to say it was Gentry, but G Hill was starting when I got there, and there was a time I want to say it was once Gentry, and I started playing well, kind of took Grant's spot. And I love Grant to death. He's one of my favorite players growing up. Like it was weird. Like I was in a kill or be killed mode, but I kind of felt a certain way because obviously, like I said, he's getting older at the time. And although G is cool, like I felt almost an energy shift, and it hurt my heart because I'm like, yo, this is one of him and Magic were my 2 favorite players, so I'm playing with my favorite player ever. And now I've taken his spot, and I kind of, like I said, he was always cool, always professional, never did no sucker shit, but I kind of just felt like a small energy shift for a while, and then once we continue to move forward, it was fine, but. That was kind of like a certain point I remember because this is still early in my career. You know what I mean? Like I've had 1 good season under my belt. The next season, my mom dies. I'm out here in Phoenix I'm fighting for my life. You know what I mean? But I just remember that moment when, I got the starting nod over G, and it was kind of it hurt my heart a little bit.
It's unfortunate, but it happens in the NBA. I've been through a similar
all the
situation. You know what I mean? But you got to
Mm-hmm.
do what you got to do. Like you said, we out here fighting for our lives on
Yeah.
these ones. And sometimes the one is a partial guarantee until January. So, you know what I mean? It's really not no games to be played with people out here on 1-year deals. And then the dynamic within the locker room when everybody's comfortable and they know you on your one, you know what I mean? There's just a whole world within non-guarantees, guarantees, the 1 year, the 1 million versus the 85. So you got to remember it's all humans at the end of the day. And like, you got to do what you got to do.
I remember too what was also fun about I had a blast there, by the way. Like Phoenix fans were
I
dope.
was going to ask you, yeah.
City was amazing. Restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
bars, beautiful. Shaq, holy shit, he was a funny demon.
Well,
in the locker
we've
room,
heard the
bro.
Lou Amundsen story, and we've heard
Man,
the riding a trike naked. Was there anything else?
he rode Lou's bike with his butthole all over because Lou used to have one of those big beach cruisers. He put his naked butthole all over the seat. Shaq would just randomly get naked and corner somebody. Corner trainers, corner players. Like
Chase you on the court.
oh
Yeah,
man, he
but he's butt
fucking.
naked in his shoes. Yeah.
I think I told this, but somehow he got Lou's bike on the top. That there's like 2 tiers to the stoplight. Somehow fucking Shaq during practice got Lou's bike put on the top one. Like he had to call somebody to get that motherfucker down. Lou filled up his car. Shaq had a new black van at the time, or like a van, and Lou filled his car up with popcorn and got all this fucked up the seats, got it all buttery and greasy. But then also on the flip side, Shaq was the homie, so you got to think. So let me tell you how basketball-wise started. So we're teammates, and Shaq is bringing his family over. Shawnee's coming over. This is when I'm with Gloria, and we would hang out often. Like Shaq's kids that are older now, like when they were little, like when they were Ashton's days, or even younger, they used to be chilling. The twins are just born, so we got 2 little babies. They have their kids, but Shaq and Shawnee used to kick it. So one day Gloria comes to me and like Shawnee has this idea about a show and da-da-da-da, and I'm thinking like, hell no. You know what I mean? Like we just got to a new team. We just had some babies. We don't need to do this reality shit. And I didn't really know what it was at that time. It's only Flavor of Love at the time, and that shit was, that shit was a train wreck. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like, nah. So me and her going back and forth for maybe a month and a half, and then Shaq comes and tells me like it's Shaq's fault that shit got popping. So he comes to me one day like, man, let her do it. They're going to be, stepping outside of our shadows and raising our kids, and they'll
He
get the
said it's
fuck,
Shaq's fault.
hey, and they'll get the fuck out of our hair. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I'm in a different part of my relationship than you are with yours. Like, but long story short, he talked me into it, bro. And then basketball wise, Miami started the next season when I went to Orlando, and they mixed the shit, and then that's when Tiger Woods was popping, and Tiger used to be at all of our Magic games. So then the first time I'm on basketball wise at a dinner, these girls are asking me, man, well, Tiger Woods just did this and that. Like, what do you guys do when you're on the road? I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm out of here. So like
Mm-hmm.
that Phoenix time, Shaq started the motherfucking basketball wise shit with my ex and his wife, and the rest is history. I think they're on season like
That
25
was
of Basketball
was
Wives
was
now.
that the first one?
That was the original one, bro. That's when they had
The OG.
Evelyn in Miami, and Jennifer and
How
Shawnee,
many
and it
how many
was,
how many
bro.
people like know you as Matt Barnes from Basketball Wives compared to
Hey, I'm
A
not even
lot.
gonna, bro. I'm not even gonna front. I wasn't even mad. Like at first, I'm like, nah, but it opened me up to another
Mm-hmm.
demographic. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Not everybody watches
Mm-hmm.
sports. Some people like those weirdo reality shit. You know what I mean? And it opened me to a whole new demographic of people. It's been weird, because my career is, a gang of 1 year stops until I started getting deals, but I'm recognized everywhere. And I don't say that conceitedly. I'm saying like I'm recognized like I was like an all-star. You know what I mean? Because I think the mix of the reality TV, the off the court fighting shit,
IG.
Kobe.
Some live couple lives, couple
the
live
Kobe,
stories.
yeah, the Kobe flinch. Like I've done a
Yeah.
lot of shit that people like. Either you love me or hate me. I'm not really tripping off that, but like I get recognized a lot, even though I know as an NBA, I was a journeyman. You know what I mean? I played, 15 years. I was a journeyman, but I think because of the reality and then off the court scuffles and viral moments on the court, like people, people recognize me from different, lanes now.
How do you feel about that term, journeyman?
Um, Jelani, I really don't mind it, to be honest with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Would I've liked to be on, one team for my whole career, maybe two or three. Yeah, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, bro, I got to play with a shitload of Hall of Famers. Got to go to some
Facts.
got to go to some dope cities. Met a lot of people. Was in a lot of different markets. You know what I mean? So again, a journeyman might stay in a couple. But you're in different markets, different media markets, and it's more recognition. And I just felt like I had a blast, man. you know, I wasn't even supposed to make the league.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I turned 15 years of professional basketball, man. Like I look at it as just like a huge blessing and it's allowed me to move post career different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the
It
fact that
has. Yeah.
I went to UCLA, I played for the Lakers and the Clippers in LA, like doors are opening. You guys know business shit. Like people just hit me and dots connect. So, although my numbers weren't crazy, every team I played on, I either started or was one of the first guys off the bench. I always made an impact. Looking back, I think my like kill or be killed mentality is probably why I bounced around, because I was just on some dog shit. Like I wasn't really, if a coach says something crazy, I'll hold my mouth. I'll hold, I'll hold it back as long as I can. But I'm just not going to be disrespected. So I've lashed out at people. I got a lot of technical fouls, but it was passion. So you have to really understand it. Like I always say, the teams I played on, like the guys probably hated playing against me, but loved playing with me.
Yep.
But also didn't know what I brought to the locker room. You ask any team I
I
played
was
on,
just
like
about to
locker
ask
room,
you that. How hard is it to walk into different locker
it's
rooms? You know what I
because
mean?
First
Year
day of
after
school.
year.
You know
Yeah.
me, Jelani. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so cool and laid back. Like people think because I
Mm-hmm.
played a certain way on the court that I'm always like I'm cool. I'm always high. You know what I mean? So I'm always on some cool kickback
I'm
shit. Like
always
I
high.
can
Mm-hmm.
be friends. I befriended all the best players. I was kicking with AI when I wasn't even playing in Philly, going to Atlantic City, getting my own hotel rooms, and sending Louis the 14th there, and I'm up there playing fucking Madden all by myself. Like Kobe was my dog. I fucked with Steve. CP was my, you know what I mean. So I've always found a way, even knowing what I am and what I make, to just be me, and I'm always going to be cool. So I always had to kind of be careful when I was gambling because I wasn't making the 20 millions a year, but I'm a
You
hustler,
did.
so I'm gonna go ahead and get my money
Yeah.
though. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure
And get out
I
of
get
there.
my
Get in and
money.
out of there
Yeah,
respectfully.
man, I'm gonna get in and out of
Hmm.
there. But so I've just always been, to answer your question, like wherever I've gone, it's just been comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I'm a natural leader from a standpoint. I've never been the best player, and I don't talk a ton, but when I talk, people listen because they know I'm gonna run through a wall on the court. You know what I mean? So it's just like I just always play my ass off and looked at every game as if it was my last because I was on so many 1 year deals. Like the 1 year approach has got to be like, not only am I playing for the Suns at this time, but this is for the rest of the league to see me. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yep.
mean? And once I kind of figured out like this is just about, Doc Rivers says be a star in your role. I figured that out early. Like, once I got a chance to play and do shit, like where can I fit in? All right, I can. So this is before the term 3 and D came out. Like I was like, I could shoot corner threes and I could play defense. You know what I mean? And I'll get in there and mix it up for you. But also, I can make plays and do all that kind of shit. So each team I kind of crafted my game, but understood what my role was. Like, yeah, would I like to shot more and score more points? Hell yeah, but that just wasn't my fucking job. You know, and that's why I feel like I played as long as I did and left on my terms. You got to think I left
Right.
on a 3 year contract. I
Mm-hmm.
played 1 year of
Right.
that 3 year contract and I retired. So I got paid for 2 more years of service. So it's just like once I kind of figured out be a fucking star in your role, I could have played until, probably until I was
Did
40.
you ever?
What's left out in this too? What's left out in this too is the wear and tear that takes out in your body. If you're on 1 year deals, you can't really do the IR
Nah,
thing,
hell
so you're
no.
gonna have to mask a lot of injuries. You're not gonna be
I played
feeling
through
right
it.
a lot during the season. So
Bro,
exactly.
I broke probably 8 out of the 10 fingers I played in, sprained. Like I couldn't sit out. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I'm smoking weed. My homeboys would have some biking in every once in a while. If I took one of those, I'd have to fucking hydrate myself down and get that out of my system because that would have been a major. But at the time, I don't have the luxury of sitting out for injuries, so I'm playing through.
Exactly.
And I'm a football player, so I'm
Facts.
not trying to sit out for shit
Is
anyway.
the
I mean, I'm just trying to be out there and
is
play.
the Suns medical staff, like, is it true what they say about them?
Great.
Because a lot of players,
They were
in like,
amazing.
even if they're coming
Yeah,
off an ACL, they'll go to Phoenix.
yeah.
What makes their medical staff?
I'm glad you
Is it
said
like
that.
one
They're
dude?
just dope. They're just
Yeah.
dope. They're very in tune. Great people, first and foremost.
Hmm.
Just a great shout out to the Phoenix Suns staff. If any of those people are still there, they were just great, man. Great energy, great to be around, but really, really knew their shit. Like really knew their shit. So, I mean, I had a good time. I mean, Steve is dope. Steve is such a
Talk to us
cool,
about
down to
Steve.
earth,
Yeah, talk to us about Steve.
Nash.
amazing. Leader, lead by example, selfless, incredible talent. Like he got the most out of that body. You know what I mean? He got them for like an average white. Steve Nash is a Hall of Famer, all MVP, and you would look at him and think like, huh? Like I could see you surfing or skateboarding or being a soccer player like he loves. But Steve was super dope, worked hard. Amar'e, crazy. They used to call him Hancock, like the superhero that everybody hated. Like it was kind of a joke
Hmm.
because he was just about basketball, like basketball. Then he called him his kill spots. He would get to his spots and knock it down. He was fucking strong. He was super talented. Amar'e was amazing. We got Jay Rich mid-season. That was a homie from Golden State, so it was good to. Little did I know, I'm in the midst of all the crazy shit that happened with. I think I was either there. It had to start when I was there with allegedly people sleeping with people's wives and having kids. Like I'm there on that team and not even fucking knowing it.
Mm.
We don't have to say the names because it came out not too
Mm-mm. If
long
you
ago.
know,
But it's just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
man,
Mm.
I'm like,
Mm.
damn. But this is also a young Leandro Barbosa, sixth man of the year. My dog to this day from that team. I mean, he was super talented, knocking down his threes, doing what he does. Shaq. I mean, come on. Unfortunately, I'm always a huge fan of Shaq. You know what he's been able to do, the most dominant player ever, and I catch him kind of at the tail end of his career, so I still see a little bit, but just
Mm.
getting a chance to know him and how cool Shaq. Shaq is one of the coolest
Ridiculous.
people on earth. I saw you guys had something with Devin George
Mm-hmm.
when he was talking about what he used to do for the young fellas. Like I didn't see a ton of that, but just cool ass, like a super vet. Super vet. So
Possibly
had
the
fun with
best
him.
vet in NBA of all time.
Yeah, he'll give you some
Yeah.
salty shit. I saw him at the end, so he would give you some salty shit every once in a while. Or the way he used to talk to Bill Cartwright was one of our coaches. He said, "Bill, you can't tell me shit. I average 50, 27, and 10 on you." and Bill
Facts.
and but Bill had a raspy voice and couldn't really say like he'd be fuck you
But
Shaq
yeah,
like the way Shaq
Bill
would.
Cartwright didn't fuck around either, right? You,
Yeah,
No,
no,
he
Bill, no,
didn't.
he wasn't going for it. But the way Shaq would talk to him was so fucking crazy, bro. It was
You
unbelievable.
know
I kind of felt
what,
bad
bro?
because
When I was
Shaq.
with the Lakers,
But
he was going up to players after the game and picking up their chain and be like, "Young fella, say your money," and like let the chain fall and like walk away from it. I used to be like, "Ooh, damn, that shit used to eat. I had to burn." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because yeah,
no, Shaq at the end was going to lay his resume out there at times. It needed to be laid. It was Shaq made
top
that
50.
team. Yeah, Shaq made that team. Off the court, it was dope.
I have one.
And then G Hill.
I have a question. So I think Nash, you can love Nash, but he's definitely a contentious topic because he has two MVPs. Somebody like Kobe only has one. I think Shaq have one or two MVPs. One.
I'm not sure.
Are
One
you
for
on
sure.
board with Steve Nash, two-time MVP? Any problem with that? Should it be held against him that people like Kobe only have one?
No, I mean if you can't hold shit against Steve for people
You're
giving
supposed to
him
give it
a
back.
trophy.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you can't hold shit against. But I'm to the realist of really knowing how motherfucking Kobe. And obviously people think, oh, you're always on Kobe. Like I just gotta had a unique relationship with him. We went from an admiration when I was in when I was in college and he went to the Lakers, coming to UCLA, to competing, to almost fighting, to becoming brothers. With all that said, if I didn't know Kobe, Kobe was a cold motherfucker, bro. Cold, he was a killer. Cold on every aspect, defense, whatever he needed to do. So it's just like you see Steve and play with Steve and you see his greatness. Obviously, he was a little bit older. I think he was in his 33, 34 when I
He
played
was
with him.
nice.
Still nice. Don't get me
Yeah, he's
wrong.
super nice. Yeah,
But I don't know.
but
Yeah, the butt is there because Kobe
yeah,
was just different. So, but
and
you
he's
definitely
playing every
can't.
game,
You can't,
playing
yeah,
every game, every
you can't,
minute.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can't hold that shit against Steve though. Great dude, great person. But yeah, I mean, they gave him the MVPs.
Uh,
keep your MVPs,
How
Nashy.
about
Hmm.
did you have any
And
relationship with Steve Kerr at that point, who was running the team?
No, not necessarily. I remember he was being a commentator at the We Believe, so we talked a few times about just how amazing that We Believe run was because he was with TNT at the time, so he was doing comedy. Just like I've never felt an arena like that. It was, but it wasn't really no real relationship. We'd see him around, we would speak, but I didn't have the relationship obviously that I have with him now.
They said that Steve tried to trade Amar'e for Curry on draft night or for that pick,
Oh,
and he was
really?
going to do that. And then because Golden State didn't think Curry was going to fall, and then he fell, and they said no, it was like done. Yep,
Really? Wow. Could you imagine that?
Steve and Steph.
crazy.
Early.
Uh,
No, but I think obviously I think Mark Jackson was instrumental in turning those guys into who they became. But yeah, crazy. What could have
this
been.
whole NBA history thing is just a whole string of it's all randomness at the end of the day. Like if that trade,
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. You
Coulda,
know,
shoulda, for sure.
that could have. I think that could be a cool show of finding shit that was supposed. When Melo just said he was supposed to come to our Laker team, I didn't even know that. I was there that time. So listen. So we were supposed to get CP and didn't get him, and then we were supposed to get Melo and didn't get him. So imagine Cole with CP or even Melo. You know what I mean? It was just like, and we were trading hogs away too. LO, I didn't know LO was in both trades. So we had LO and Powell were supposed to go to New Orleans for CP, which was voided, and then Melo says it was supposed to be LO and Bynum for Melo, and I'm just like, can you imagine like either one of those motherfuckers with Kobe? And I'm just out there doing whatever the fuck I need to do. I'm gonna hold it down for you guys, but
the
man,
Kobe
Kobe and Melo or Kobe and
the
CP
CP trade is so messed up because like it's a good trade. Like you're getting back good players.
could have been beneficial. Yeah, could have been beneficial. Now, who was talking about that on All the Smoke? Wasn't Jeannie telling us
Yeah,
how
yeah,
that
yeah.
that fell through? They're all at a meeting and something.
Yep.
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Stern. Well, Matt,
Mafia.
that was dope. I appreciate the time, man. I think anybody who uses the word journeyman as a diss is a loser. I think the fact that you got to
Oh,
play 13
come
years
on,
in the
man.
league with Kobe and Nash and everyone. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have to tell you. We don't have to tell you, but um, It's dope that
Yeah.
you have that perspective and that you like, you know, it's all just, it's real life.
Nah, come on, man. 14 years in the NBA, 1 year of just other basketball, just like 15 years. Like, come on, man, that's a fucking dream. And again, it's allowing me to do all this amazing shit we're doing now. So I just feel like the NBA was a stepping stone to my next career, which, you know, we found. So I'm thankful for every minute. But yeah, I laugh when people, oh, you did this, you did, like, bitch, I did it. You didn't. So I'm confused on what the problem is. So
That part.
yeah. All right, fellas, I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll talk soon.